All right, guys, so we're going to look at an example where we convert standard form into factored form, and we're going to build off of the box method that we've been using to go, in the other direction when we go from factored form to standard form. So we're going to follow these little steps at the beginning or at the bottom of the page here. So the first thing, we're going to fill in two dimensions of the box with the first term and the last term. Now, anytime we do the box method, that ends up being this, first box here and this last box here. So we take our first term, x squared, goes in the first box. We take our c term, 15, the last term, and throw that in the last box there. So that's step one. Now, step two, we're gonna multiply the first term by the last term. So we're gonna multiply the two terms together, x squared times 15. Now that's gonna be 15x squared. Now, step three, we're gonna determine the two numbers that multiply to make the number from step two, and also add to make that middle term. So if we start doing factors of 15x squared, we would have 1x and 15x. That's not gonna add up to 8x. If you have 3x and 5x, that one is going to add up to 8x. So that's our step three right there. Now, what's not listed at the bottom here, we wanna then fill in the box with those results. So we have 3x, and we have 5x. So now, that brings us to step four. We're gonna factor out the greatest common factor from each side of the box. So this is where, originally our factored form terms would go. We're gonna create them by looking for the greatest common factor. So if we look at the first row here, x squared and 3x. Well, with 1 and 3, 1's really the only number we can pull out of that. And then with x squared versus x, both of them have at least x going on. Now, if we look at the second row, we got 5x versus 15. Now, only this box has an x, so there'll be no variables coming out. But if we look at the two numbers, 5 and 15, both of them are divisible by 5. So we're able to take a 5 and put that on the outside. So now we're going to repeat the process for the columns. For x squared and for 5x, well, they both just have an x in common. You got 1 and 5 for the numbers, so only 1 would be coming out, but you don't have to write that. And then each of them have an x, and that's as high as this one goes, so that's all we can pull. Now the last column, we got 3x and 15. So for the numbers, both are divisible by 3. We can pull that out. For x, we just have 1 right here, and we don't have 1 here. So step 5, writing our answer in factored form, we're just going to take the two sides that we just made. We have x plus 3. That's what we factored out on the top over there. And we're going to have x plus 5, which we factored out on the left-hand side there. And then, as you can see, we have our answer in factored form, x plus 3 times x plus 5.